Hey everybody, welcome back to this Friday review. Great to be here with you. Always excited to do the Friday show. My chance to talk about the latest and greatest research that I've been reading myself that I want to get out to you. And I don't know if you knew this, but there are about 4,000 to 5,000 new published studies per day, somewhere around 1.5 million, 2 million or so per year, at least in the biomedical based space. And overall for like science and longevity and even some engineering that would apply to like things that we look at, there's somewhere around, I think the latest stats that I saw is 8,000 to 11,000 new studies published per day. So anybody, again, this is what I want to share with you. Anybody online who's like, I am the end all be all of all the knowledge in the entire world, they need to take a little step back. They need to take a deep breath and just say, okay, I'm going to keep an open mind because I don't always know what I don't know. So what I try to share with you, I research for at least 60 minutes per day. It's usually 60 to 90 minutes per day. And then I try to bring those research studies that I think will have the most prevalence or most application in your life or a loved one's life on the Friday reviews. But that's really what it's all about. It's learning research, it's sharing it, and then understanding in the greater context that no one study is the end all be all, right? That's the truth. Okay, so let's dive right into today's show. If you missed any of this week's shows, they're at stephencabral.com/podcast. Monday was a fun show. I love the motivation and mindset Mondays. I do it a lot for myself, to be truthful, because the goal is that even if you've achieved what you want to achieve, it's not always easy to stay at the top where you want to remain. Meaning like, I feel like the best that I've ever felt in my life, but that doesn't mean that I get to remain there. I need to stay motivated. I need to stay disciplined. I need to do the things that allowed me to achieve the health and happiness that I've really always wanted to. And it wasn't a straight line. It was difficult at times to get here, but I did, and I'm so grateful for it. The GPS theory, though, is essentially, it is the ultimate way to look at your journey. Is that it's not a straight path. But the nice thing is, as long as you don't stop driving, as long as you don't stop moving forward, you'll just redirect until you get there. Check out that show. That was episode 3517. Tuesday, we went over our very first lab review. So what I'm going to be doing is twice a month, and maybe it'll be a weekly show in the future if people really enjoy it. But this show is really about our community. Truly, it's our community. So people have been writing in with so many of their lab numbers. I said, let's do a 30-minute show. Let's do a show where we actually break down people's lab results and I give them a protocol of what I'm recommending. So that was a lot of fun. Let me know in the comments if you want more shows like that. If you do, I'll record them for sure. That was episode 3518. On Wednesday's show, this was backed by popular demand. We even done a PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome or ovary syndrome show in some time. So I went over the 4 main underlying root causes of PCOS and how to begin to rebalance those from a protocol level. All right, so Thursday's show, just yesterday's show, does the keto diet cause cancer? Bold statement. Big article written not too long ago, literally weeks ago. And so I break it down and I just give you an unbiased perspective. Is this actually true? And it wasn't just an article. It was an 18-year study. So like it had some weight behind it. But again, I give you the raw truth of actually what's true, what's not true, what I would do if I was in your position, which I am as a human trying to live a healthy, happy life, right? That's what it's all about. All right. That brings us to today's show. Today's show notes will be at stephencabral.com/3521. Head on over because I've got the 2 new research articles that we're going to get to. Short, sweet, to the point, but amazing. And I have a product review. Let's dive into the product review right now. So this is a product that, again, I get surprised all the time when my wife, my kids, they introduce me to things as well. So I try to live, obviously, I do my best. I'm not perfect, but as healthy a lifestyle as possible. And so this right here is granola. It is the healthiest granola that I've ever seen. It doesn't mean that you should eat granola, but what I like to do is just share with you the healthiest brands. This bag is almost empty. You can see my family actually utilizes this. So this is made by a company that I definitely trust. It's called 1 Degree Organic Foods. They're not a sponsor of the show. I've never spoken with them before, but you can get this at Whole Foods. You can get this online, I'm sure. But I always look for a nut-free granola, because every once in a while, I don't do a lot of granola, and I'll tell you why. The only reason I don't do a lot of granola is that it's so easy to eat and overeat it. Truthfully, like if I don't have a cup of granola, I don't feel like I even really ate anything. And eating a cup of granola, at least for this one, would be around 80 carbohydrates, 15 grams of fat, and 12 grams of protein. So when you look at the overall macros, they're pretty balanced. But even if I ate a cup of granola, I wouldn't be that full. So for other individuals, how do they like to use it? They put it on their yogurt in the morning, just maybe a third of a cup. Amazing. Like they could do that. And again, sheep and goat-based yogurt would be a much better choice, or maybe coconut milk-based rather than cows. They might put in some cottage cheese. How I like to do it is on the weekends, my daughters and I will typically either get an acai bowl or we'll make our own. So we'll get our own just organic acai by the acai companies, which is just like a clean version. You put some granola on top, put some fruit on top, and it's delicious. Like truthfully, I'll put some bee pollen on there. What else will I put on there? Some mac nut butter maybe, some 100% dark chocolate chips. It's delicious, right? But I can also control it because I'm having it at home. That's when I'll use this, but also my wife and my kids, they'll just, gobble it up. So let me just read you the ingredients. Sprouted gluten-free organic oats, organic honey, organic hemp seeds, which are the hemp hearts that I talk about, cane sugar, sprouted organic brown rice, organic sunflower oil, unrefined sea salt, and then tocopherols, which is vitamin E. That just preserves the freshness. That's it. So there's no nuts. There's hemp seeds or hemp hearts, and that gives it a little extra protein. But this is very clean. And I love that there's not a lot of oils and other stuff put in it. So, there is some oil because they have to put it in there to keep it moist. And that's towards the very end. So anyway, if you're into granola, check it out. This is the 1 Degree. They make a great oatmeal as well. And it's a good brand, and I love to promote good brands. So there we have it. All right. And again, if you ever have a great brand, feel free to share it in the comments. I would love to hear about it. We'll check it out, maybe even use it in our house. All right, let's get to the 2 research studies this week. Let's go with the first one. I like to end with a positive one. This first one is not positive, but it needs to be known. Childhood exposure to exhaust is linked to mental health issues in adulthoods, adds Dr. Rubin. Until the 1990s, gas in the U.S. contained lead. The resultant exhaust is linked to an estimated 151 million lifelong mental disorders diagnosed with lowered IQ, depression, anxiety, and ADHD. All right. This was also published in the Journal of Child Psychology and Psychiatry. Why would I ever mention this type of publication? Well, it's not to scare people, because the nice thing is you can detox. You can absolutely detox. And so it's something that we all need to do. We talk about our quarterly detox all the time. That just happened for us about 2 weeks ago. You can do your own anytime. Functional medicine detox. You can choose the Equalife one, or you can choose the brand that you like. You can see what we use in our practice at stephencabral.com/detox. But the truth is that these toxins really do exist. It's kind of funny, but even 10 years ago, or even on podcasts, people would laugh if you talked about detoxification. It's like, what are we doing? Like, these things really exist, right? And our job is to remove them from our body at a faster rate. Yes, your liver's detoxing. Yes, your kidneys are detoxing. Yes, your skin's detoxing, and even a little bit through your lungs. But we need to remove these things through our body as fast as humanly possible. So if you ever want to run a lab that looks at environmental toxins, there's actually labs for that too. Simple urine-based labs, and then some people would actually be surprised at what they are currently exposed to. So knowing and knowledge really is power. I definitely recommend looking into this. If not, just keep that detoxification going. It's so important for we as humans, and even conventional medicine and psychiatry know it as well. All right, let's get to a more positive one. Tai Chi is good for the blood pressure. I've talked about Tai Chi so many times. When I was an intern in old Beijing, China, and I worked at a traditional Chinese medicine hospital, interned at a traditional Chinese medicine hospital. I worked under some amazing doctors, and they would do x-rays, they would do everything, but they would use the traditional modalities of traditional Chinese medicine. And one of those is Tai Chi. It would be a prescription. And here's why. It actually works. And I've talked about it again before in the show. In a study of pre-hypertensive adults, systolic, so up to 139 for the systolic blood pressure, and up to about 90 for their diastolic blood pressure. So let me explain what that actually means before I'm going to actually put this in my own words instead of reading the study. And then I'm going to link up the study for you. So this was a 12-month study led by researchers at the China Academy for Chinese Medicine in Beijing, and it was published in JAMA. Okay, and I'll link all that up for you at stephencabral.com/3521. So if you want to go deeper on it. Here's the thing. Healthy blood pressure is about 120/80. But really, that's the maximum. You really want it like 110 to 120 over 70 to 80. That's ideal blood pressure, okay? And you want to look at it in the morning, but you also want to look at it at night. At night, blood pressure is even more important. You need to lower that blood pressure at night. I work with a bunch of clients with high blood pressure. We always help them lower their blood pressure. But our job, though, is we say, you're getting an easy Omron, and you can find the blood pressure monitor that we recommend to people at stephencabral.com/resources. Those are all our resources. And we want to lower that to, again, this just said borderline is up to 139, 140, right? And it used to be 135. It still is. I mean, they look at it, 135 is really high blood pressure. And then the bottom number over 85, 90. So here's what I want to share with you though. All of these individuals, pre-hypertensive, before that 140, they use Tai Chi. And in almost 22% of people who started practicing Tai Chi, their blood pressure returned to normal. No medication. Returned to normal. In 16% of those who did aerobic exercises, such as jogging or walking, it returned to normal. So walking, jogging, again, I'm definitely a recommender of the 7,500 to 10,000 steps a day. Tai Chi calm the blood pressure even more. Now, you would say like, well, those aren't great statistics. It's 1 out of 5 people. All they had to do was Tai Chi, like for 20 to 30 minutes. So we're not talking about like a heavy lift, right? They're doing that. Now, in our practice, we would say, just go do Tai Chi and you'll lower your blood pressure. No, we would say you're going to choose walking and or Tai Chi, but also you're going to be using Adrenal Soothe, full spectrum magnesium, increasing foods in your diet that are higher in potassium. You're going to do an intermittent fast of 12 to 16 hours. We're going to improve your sleep. Like we're going to do all the things, which is like all the causes of right? High blood pressure. So we're going to use all of them, but it is really important to share with people that these things really do work. This is a scientific based journal. I mean, JAMA is a phenomenal journal to get something published in, right? And so I wanted to share this with you because all of these things do work. And so whenever a doctor tells you, oh, there's no science in that, there is science in it. They work. And what I would say is though, don't try to just cherry pick one thing to do. Whenever possible, build your profile out, understand what's going on in your body, find the underlying root causes, and then use multiple modalities, like I talk about in the Rain Barrel Effect under the de-stress protocol, to begin to work on the underlying root causes. Remember, once you solve the underlying root causes for blood pressure, it's, okay, hardening of the arteries, we'll work on that. Elevated levels of cortisol, we'll work on that. Imbalance of calcium, magnesium, imbalance of sodium to potassium or calcium to potassium or magnesium to sodium, high levels of heavy metals. There's probably a couple more that are escaping me at this present moment in time, but we'll work on all of them. We'll literally work on those, rebalance them, and then if you rebalance them, you can't have high blood pressure anymore because there's always an underlying root cause, and that's what I want to leave you with. So hopefully today's show was helpful. If it was, of course, do feel free to share it with anyone you believe it can serve, and all those show notes will be at stephencabral.com/3521. Take care. I'll talk to you tomorrow on our Cabral House Calls, where we answer our community's questions every weekend. Take care. Thanks so much for tuning into today's show. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I want to make sure that you're getting our daily content, not missing out on anything. Functional medicine, wellness, weight gain, weight loss, anti-aging, living longer, stronger, and all of the most cutting-edge research. And if there's any topics you want to hear, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Take care.